Low. Alright, let's just wait till this thing looks like it's working. I always have trouble seeing where the fucking thing, where the actual screen is showing. So, let's just, can we pop that out? No. That's fine. Alright. So, for everyone that is here, can I pop this chat out? Yes, I can. Sweet. How does this look again? Alright. Put you guys up here, if anyone's here. Alright. And so, if you're here, you can type in chat, tell me what's up, interact. But if not, then I'm just going to start talking about the league and getting this shit done. So, here we go, boys. First things first, what we wanted to do is, I was going to go through a few topics. Gonna do like, touch on a game that went crazy. Actually had some meeting. I will go through the rankings and, talk about what's happening there for the most part. And I'll touch on the Chris and Dave trade. And then to finish off, we're going to do the final reveal of the draft order. Okay. What the fuck? Pop this YouTube chat up. All right. So, to start off with, we have Rough Riders and the Sun God Supremacists starting off at the top of the league. Got to give props where it's due. Both have solid teams and both have performed really well. After that, we got the Run-In Tugs, followed by the preseason favorite Rolling with Mahomies, who we will touch on later. The Brockness Monster. Like I said, I'm gonna touch on that trade. We're gonna talk about that later. Pink Floyd still hasn't changed his name with his Google email generated looking ass name. Followed by me, the top of the 1 and 2 teams. Great, worst place to be in, or is it? We'll find out later in the draft order. Then we got Stroud 9, Near, Mega Weenie Mites, and then the two bringing up the caboose, and Fuck You Kobe's and Allied Andy, who have both had their struggles for various reasons. Haven't even looked at Cody's games, but I guess he's losing. Allied Andy, I gave him one of his losses, and he had like 62 points in it, so that's somewhat expected. But we'll see what happens. So first off, I just want to touch on Rough Riders. Got to give props where it's due. He has the most points for in the league. Had two pretty decent wins his first 2 weeks. And then second week was against me. He probably should have wiped that no problem. Like, I wasn't really that much of a threat. But then he lost Nick Chubb during that game, which was, he's definitely a win now team since he has Kelsey on his team. So he ended up bouncing back in week 3 with 170 something fucking points with no Nick Chubb. So I'm not preying on your downfall, but I'm glad that Nick Chubb got hurt. I said it. Can't take it back now. He's okay. I hear it's just an MCL tear. He'll play again. He's fine. You're fine. That's really like all I wanted to touch on in terms of the rankings. They're just kind of bland. This is not going to be a super long video. I will now talk about Chris and Dave's trade. So I believe it was Jamar. I don't even have it pulled up. Can I pull it up? Let's see. Trade history. That's all my trade history. All my rejects. Nobody accepts my trades. What? All right. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know this shit, and I'm not figuring it out. I'll just do it from memory. I believe it was Jamar Chase and Dave's fourth for Ramondre Stevenson, Drake London, and Chris's second. So we can start off by like thinking about. I've thought about this trade a little bit, and I was like, why did Dave do this? Not to be blunt, but like I actually had to think about it a bit because I'm like, oh, he's going for just like more player options? Like, I mean, he has a little bit of a more win now team when you pick like McCaffrey and but at the same time, like he could compete next year when Jonathan Taylor is probably gonna be like 100% back. He'll have Taylor McCaffrey. He would have had Chase. J. Roy's asking for the link. I don't even fucking know how to. Let's see. Let's do. Uh, Here is your link. All right. Let's see. So let's get our pop-up chat back up. Let's get back to what we were doing here. All right. So yeah, we had the Chris and Dave trade. Like back to what I was saying was basically trying to figure out what Dave's doing here. Like the more I thought about it, the main one I landed on was he must just be going for like more options. Because like you're basically trading away like a top five, top six, like one of the best dynasty assets in the entire game for somewhat like unknown known quantities in Ramondre Stevenson and Drake London. I mean, when you make a move like this, I'm just assuming like you're giving up on winning now because when I look at Ramondre, like I think he only has this is either his free agent year or he has one more year, and the Patriots hate paying their players, so he could end up fucking anywhere, and you never know what his situation's going to be like. There's just a lot of uncertainty there. And then you have Drake London, who doesn't have a quarterback. So, or should I say, he has Desmond Ritter, but that's like the same thing as not having a quarterback. Guy probably throws it like max 30 times a game for like a 60% completion rate. And everyone knows that Arthur Smith is a run first coach, and they had one of the best run schemes in the entire NFL this year and last year. So that's going to be their motive for winning games right now. They buffed up the defense. They're going to be a control the line of scrimmage and just like grind it out type of team in a bad division. So I think they're going to get wins, which I really think is going to place the Falcons out of like the top range of quarterbacks that they could get in this upcoming draft. And I really think like the way that they're built right now is pretty fucking decent. Like in a bad division, like all they need is like one more. They just need a quarterback. They're a little bit. I don't want to say like the Jets, but kind of a little bit like Jets light, where they just kind of need that last piece. And I really think that they actually are a legitimate team. I don't know if they're Super Bowl contenders per se, but they're definitely a playoff team that could make a run with the talent that they have. Um, but I will say it would be fucking spicy if the Falcons did like something that they. Well, I don't know what their pick situation looks like, but if they gave up like their first, a second, and a player, or like their next two firsts or something to like move up and get like a Drake May or like a Phoenix, they're not gonna get Caleb Williams, but like one of those QBs that'd be spicy, and I actually wouldn't hate it. But it's the Falcons, and they're not a very great organization, so they probably wouldn't do that. I also not 100% sure what their pick situation looks like. But yeah, so we're on to the last part of the video at this point, which is just going to be the draft order reveal. The current draft order based off my calculations. What you can see here, I blacked it out a little bit. You have the top 6 teams: Rough Riders, Supremacists, Running Tugs, Mahomies, Brockness Monster, Pink Floyd. Um, oh, actually, before I get to this, I wanted to say it's gonna sound bitter, but I want to do this like once every league recap video, and I want to talk about like one game that happened during the 3 weeks. And I actually like. It sounds like I'm a fucking dick who's just like complaining, but me versus J Roy this past week, what or rolling with Mahomies for those of you uh, that don't know who that is. Um, he was down pretty significantly going into Monday. We're both 1-1, um, both vying to try to get ahead in the league. But basically, he he had Williams. He had well, actually I can pull this up. Let's see. Matchup. Let's go back. Wait, is it this one? Yeah. Okay, so he had Williams, and he had Mixon and Atwell for Monday Night Football, and I had Devontae Smith and Godwin, and I was like up decently going in. I think like his odds were probably like in the 30s. It was like one of those 70-30 looking matchups. Um, and basically, Devonta Smith and Chris Godwin ended up underperforming. Kyron Williams um, underperformed for J-Roy, I would say, in terms of the Rams just having somewhat of a bad day. But Mixon and Atwell did solid enough. And it really actually, for those of you that weren't watching, it came down to the last touchdown by the Rams where Atwell scored that backdoor garbage time touchdown. Ended up giving him the win by 2 points. Unfortunate. Silver linings, though, I did have a bet on that game for the Rams to cover the line, and with that touchdown, they did. So, what about like $25? So I'm like halfway to next year. Um, next year's input anyway. So just playing chess out here. Um, but now back to the draft reveal. Good win by J Roy though. You know, won't take it away from him. I'm not too upset about it, but it was a tight game, and actually like might have some implications down the line here. He said he dented your head. Never in doubt. We had it in the bag the whole time. All right, man. Whatever you have to tell yourself. Whatever you have to tell yourself. But yeah, not even nervous at all going into the last drive with like 2 minutes left, or like 1 minute left in the fourth, and they have to score on a fourth down. Never in doubt. But back to the draft reveal. So these are the top 6 teams. Their records and points are somewhat irrelevant in the draft order. Their placement is based off of their finishing in the playoffs. However, the bottom 6, your record doesn't fucking matter. It's all based off of total points. This row right here, total points. As you can see, there's a couple people in the 700s, Rough Riders, Supremacists, Mahomies. Even the top person in the 1 and 2s has 700 total points. So your record doesn't matter. At the end of the regular season, whoever has the lowest total points will end up getting the first round draft pick. So just to reiterate, there are shit in the bylaws to stop you from like dropping players or picking up like like 5 0-point players for actual players. So don't try to fucking manipulate the system. That shit ironclad. And if it ain't, then I'm gonna change it to make it so you can't do that. Just kidding. But seriously, don't fucking do that. All right. So what we're gonna end up doing is looking at we're gonna start from know what? For dramatic effect, let's start from the top. All right. You guys won't believe this, but Ally fucking Andy 0-3 is tied or has the fourth most total points in the league overall. He's 0-3 and he almost has just as many bench points as he does actual points for played in his lineup. So that's fucking crazy. I have a nice little graph I'll show everyone later because I'm doing fucking data analytics out here. But as far as data analytics go, when all this shit happens, please double check your points because this is all manually inputted and I'm human and I can make a mistake. And I might also do this week to week now. Not the video, but at least the calculating. So you can look at this if you need to and you can realize where you are. Because doing 3 weeks at once was fucking pain. So I don't want to do that again. It took like an hour. It was fucking pain. So you're welcome for my sacrifice. The second, so this would be pick 5 is me. It's fucking me. I got 291 bench points. Not nearly like just a decent amount of points for. It would put me at about like 5th in terms of scoring if I was 2-1. Uh, nothing really else to say here. I want to get into the juicy shit. Next person is fuck you Colby's. How funny is that? We got Allied Andy and fuck you Colby's. The two 0-3 teams are not either of like in the bottom 3 of total points. So unfortunately, what that basically means is you guys just suck at setting your lineup currently. Like you're getting a lot of points onto your bench. Your players are putting up like some 20-point performances and stuff, and unfortunately you're just not starting them. It is unfortunate, but you know, like shit happens. Like I get it, but it see how it's affecting you now. Like if you're going to end up being the 4th overall pick no matter what, even if you're 0-3. So start the right lineup and go for your. It's kind of like weighs your efficiency because you actually have to put in the right players or else, but you're still penalized for good performances from people on your bench, even more really than you would in a redraft league. But yeah, it's kind of cool, and I think it's a good way to show like which teams benches and like overall teams are really performing well overall instead of just the starting lineup. What if they have a deep team? Uh, so I'm assuming if you're asking that question, you're meaning like, well, that's kind of, okay, that's what I'm saying basically is like if you're getting a lot of bench points, it's partially because you're not starting the right lineup and partially because your team is deep. Like, look at Andy. Like, his starting lineup is almost the exact same amount of points as his bench points. Like, it's kind of like doesn't happen by accident. Like, if you took like 40 points off of his bench points and put them onto his like points for, he has like he's 5th in scoring, and he has way less points on the bench. So I don't know. It does indicate that you have a good team, but I think that that's like probably the best example of it. The third lowest total points in the league currently. By the way, this is all off the cuff, so if I sound like a fucking idiot, yeah, there's a reason for that. Is on Stroud 9. Um, 1-2, week one, week one winner, big week one winner, but currently projected to be third in the draft order. You know, he did lose Judy at the beginning of the year, although Judy's back. Don't really know what else is going on for him, but Stroud's doing pretty good. So hey, there's that. Can't be mad about that. Low bench points, only 160. It. I think like we're gonna find like as we go further in, it's like, oh, is that good to have low bench points, or is it bad to have low bench points because it just means your team is bad and not producing any points whatsoever? AKA, like if you get an injury, like you are not getting any production from your bench. Like this is through 3 weeks, by the way. So this is like 50 bench points a week. Like that is not a lot. That is not a lot at all. But that could be due to injury. It could be due to roles in people's teams and stuff like that. It's very variable. Second is Mega Weenie Mites. Um, he's not. I mean, like where your numbers are match up pretty much where you are in the order. 1 and 2 played Chris that first week, and it was a tight game. It was a little bit of an underperformance bowl. Um, but you're low on bench points too. I think you also have some injuries. I know Anthony Richardson's hurt, and that's probably like hurting your overall scoring right there. You probably would be like up in the 390s or like something like that if Richardson had played. But yeah, I mean, this is just week 3, so we'll end up seeing. Um, Last person, as we can probably all figure out, is near. Near. He's 1 and 2. 1 and 2, but projected to get the first overall pick in our draft currently. And yeah, as you can see, he's averaging the lowest amount of bench points per team in the league. Per week, team in the league. If you look at his bench, it's a rough sight. Like, let's see. Can I do this where you guys can see it? No, not really. But fuck it. Um, you got Trey Lance, Zappy. How many? Let's count the 0 point players. 1, 2, 3. Bryce Young hurt. 4. What is this? Fuck it. It's a 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. James Robinson, useless. Not even on a team. But like, not gonna blame you for holding him. He could sign somewhere. We'll see. Rashad Penny, 0. Jake Funk, 0. Greg Dortch, 0. Sterling Shepard. Like these players are playing in the games. To be honest, like these players are playing. They're just not scoring. And then you have OBJ, Allen Robinson. Like OBJ hurt. I mean, you're getting production from like Rondell Moore and like yeah, like where's the production coming from? Like so, like to be honest, if I'm him in this league, like I'm happy with the way that the system is because it's like it kind of shows like how weak his team is a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he has no bench options. If he's starting 2 tight ends like Ertz and Hurst, so it's not great out there. And he's and he's got Rashad White, Madison, Pacheco. None of those are really RB1s. They're kind of like situational RB1s. So like I think the method to the madness here is that everything makes sense the way that it's working out currently. So I'm happy with the results. Yeah, bye weeks will be telling. J. Roy says, yeah, I agree. I think like once. I mean, is that next week? I think some people. Is it 4th week or 5th week? Do teams have bye weeks already on week 4? I think they do, but I don't know who it is. Brockness and Stroud 9 have damn near same points for and bench points for. Yeah, I know. It's pretty funny, like how it all checked out. Like here, I also got this data right here, which shows what people were doing weekly, and I found this to be really interesting in terms of data, which is the like with the people who didn't have like one player on their roster that I called out earlier in the day. Like, it's not that big a deal if you actually look at this. Like, I still want everyone to have a full team no matter what, because I think it shows good faith. I think that if you don't have a full team, it's kind of bad faith when we do the draft order this way. So I do want everyone to still understand that we want to have it that way. But look at the variance between the highs and lows week to week. You have J. Roy says week 5 they start in terms of the bye weeks, so that'll be good. We'll see. We'll see then. Like you said, like not deep teams are not even gonna be able to field fucking rosters, so people will find out real fast. But let's get back to the data on week to week. Like this will be the last thing I touch on. But you have like week 1, Paycheck had 23.6 fucking Mega Weenie Mice, 23.6 fucking fantasy points on his bench. Like, I I looked it up and it didn't even make sense when I was doing the numbers. I was just like, oh, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. But then you'll see, like, the next week, he's at 72. He literally tripled his bench points the next week. And then he's kind of been at the same. But then you get like huge swings. Like, let's see, you get Allied Andy, who like this is the week to week data that like I'm trying to show you guys. He had 150 fucking bench points on week 2 and 70 week 1 and 115 week 3. Like his bench points are immense. Like 20, the range is currently 23.6 to 1 fucking 50. Like that is an insane range. And like there's not a lot of there's a little consistency, but not a lot of consistency. Like run and tug 67, 70, then it fucking like almost doubles. You got Rough Riders 131, 132, and it fucking halves. Like it's so week to week, and I think it's a great indicator of what teams are performing like on a week to week basis. Oh, dude, he said he had Jerry said he had Swift on his bench that week. Oh, the 150 game? Yeah, that'll do it. Like that is also what the bench points also recognize is that you are very inefficient that week possibly because you have a lot of fucking points sitting on your bench. And honestly, your starters probably didn't do that well comparatively. Um, Usually, I think it was like if you had like a 150 point week, like you were usually dropping like one player in the high teens, like a high 20s, like maybe two high 20s, and like a bunch of like 9, 8, like single digits, maybe like a couple like 10, 11s, and then you end up at like 150 very fast. All it takes is like 6, 7, 8 players, or probably just six, like 6 players having a decent week, and you're pretty up there. Um, what was the last point that I was gonna make about that? I don't remember. But oh yeah. One of the things that I found also very interesting is the QBs. If you look at teams that have viable QB3s, you would think that they have more bench points than other teams, and it's kind of inconsistent data still. It's not clear at all because you have people like me, J. Roy, um, you have Corey, and we have like Stafford, Mac Jones, Baker Mayfield, who are all doing like pretty decently this year, but I would consider QB3s. And so you would think that like maybe our bench points might be a little higher than other people's, but then you look at run and tugs and he's 67, 70, then like one bigger week. For me, I think I don't even remember what I was doing. I was like pretty high, but I'm falling off. And then you have, I think Chris also has a QB3 of some sort, and he's like averaging decently high, so he's kind of bucking that trend. But then rolling with my homies, also decently high, but like we still are having people outscore us week to week, no problem, in the total bench points category. Like I said, it's a little TBD whether we're going to end up seeing whether that is due to inefficiency or whether that's due to the QB's actually accounting for that many more points than some other bench players that are just as effective as QBs. But you know, we'll see. And then I got this sick ass graph right here that shows you visually what people's total points look like when combined with the points for versus bench points. And you'll see that basically the people who have the most points have the most points for the most part in general, and then the bench points kind of are a little bit below that, a little bit more variant, because you got people like Andy back here who have like lower points for, but almost the same bench points, and he's like fourth in the league in terms of overall points. So I don't want to take up too much more time. I'll end the video here. But yeah, that went a little longer than I thought. But that's the week 3 or up to week 3 summary. I will pick one more go-to game this week on the way out. Let's take a fucking look. I haven't even seen anything. Um, let's see. We have Near and Allied Andy who are toilet bowling a little bit. I think I'm gonna give it to me and On Stroud 9 here. The Slim Reapers versus On Stroud 9 is a pretty big game for what's gonna end up happening or what our decisions are gonna be down the road. Because we're both 1 and 2, both looking to compete and have pieces that will allow us to do so, but are just maybe we're just getting a little bit outperformed. You know, I played Rough Riders and Mahomes in the first 3 weeks of the season and they're two of the top teams. So I would say that that could just be an indicator of my team. But if whoever loses is going to have to take a look at the team and start thinking and making some decisions possibly. So I think that's what we're going to call there. Have a good rest of the evening, gents, and we'll see you out on the field. I'll probably, like I said, keep updating the dynasty list. Probably I'll try to do it weekly. But these videos are probably still going to be like every 3 weeks or so. Jair says, let's be clear. I didn't deserve the win I got against you this week. I mean, like I said, I'm not taking it away from you. You know, Tutu like had a lot of opportunities to catch balls that he didn't catch, or like he almost scored that touchdown but was ruled out of bounds anyway. So like, yeah, I'm not gonna dwell on it too much. But yeah, I think we got a good ass league going here, boys, and I'll see you out on the battlefield later.